E3 2016 is happening. Kinda Funny's going all out with Let's Plays and reaction videos all week long. Subscribe now at youtube.com/kindafunnygames to not miss a thing.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Kinda Funny Reacts from E3 2016. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside King of the Gingerbread Men, Colin Moriarty.
Why are you messing my name? Colin Moriarty? How many? We've been doing this for like almost a decade.
But do you understand that half the things I do to annoy you, I do on purpose?
You didn't do that on purpose.
Colin.
Colin Moriarty.
Colin.
Colin Moriarty.
Corin
Mockery.
Colin!
Yeah.
You saw God of War. I saw God of War behind closed doors.
Sure did.
What'd you think?
Super impressive.
Right.
We listened to Corey talk about the game. Corey
Mr.
Barlog
Corey
obviously is an OG of the God of War series that left Sony Santa Monica and then came back. And to me, what I felt like this game being like, basically this game exists as a response to everything that was wrong about God of War.
It's like he talked about stuff and would look at us about it, and the fact that like we have been
I
very.
felt like he was looking at me.
It was very clear that we have said on multiple occasions we think Kratos is a terrible character. He has one dimension. These are the problems with him, and he had talked about the fact that this is Kratos. Like the way he described the game is interesting. It is a reimagining of God of War, but of the gameplay, but a continuation of the story. This is the Kratos we've known forever. However, lots of time has passed between his Greek god era and now his Norse era.
Right.
And this is him. This is the first God of War from a story perspective. I'm actually super excited about the way he talked about it.
Yeah, dimensionally, I think that, like, you know, to your point, there was some confusion. I know you were confused when we were talking about the game right after we saw it at the press conference.
Yeah.
It is a continuation because I had noted he has like the Omega symbol and it's called Spartan Rage and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, are they really going to like call it all that and then reboot it? So the instincts that some people had, I think, before they confirmed it was right, that this is a continuation and there's a reason, an arc in the story about how he gets to Scandinavia, which we'll explore in the game. But I feel like, you know, Corey talked about it as like the, 1 through 3, and I guess you can count like, the Ready at Dawn games as well, as being kind of the first act of Kratos. Kratos is angry in those, and he has a reason to be angry, but now like he has to kind of change.
Yeah.
And so along with the change in his temperament comes the change in the game as well. The structure of the game, the camera angle, combat, everything's changed. This game is much less of what I feel like is a game trapped in the PS2 and PS3 era, which is like these
anchored camera,
these static
super action, no story.
Yeah, like God of War just. I mean, in my opinion, I know it's a technical showcase of those consoles, as we said many times, but they just don't age well from a narrative perspective.
Narrative's always been garbage.
Yeah.
The gameplay's been fun.
Yeah, the gameplay's fine. I enjoy playing the God of War games, but this seems to be a third-person action game in the vein of some of the great third-person action games that we've been getting the last 5 years or so. Right. And God of War taking a long break from the canons, Ascension, I guess, is in there somewhere too, but taking a long break and kind of figuring out what this game could be is really interesting to me. And I felt somewhat validated in a sense when he was like, it's like the game is like Tomb Raider.
Right.
And I was like, that's exactly what I said the game
The question was,
like.
How open world is this? He talked about the game being broad, and what he came back with is it's a little bit bigger than what the Tomb Raider open areas were, where you walk into someone and you have freedom to explore and do whatever, but you're in that area. You're still locked down to that area while you do it and then move on and progress the story.
But so you're not the only one that felt like he was just looking at you?
No,
like when
100%.
You're saying certain shit, like
I'm
he knows.
sure he's heard us talk shit about Kratos before.
Right.
And I think that was the thing. And he talked even about our demo session had the longer intro, right? I think some of that might be just because we are so vocal about it. But again, it worked in the fact of coming out and being like, and it was speaking to the point that I was making in the trailer or the demo reaction, I guess, of the Spartan Rage filling up and then Kratos trying to calm down and talk to his son and then reaching out and thinking it's this. Kratos trying to find humanity is interesting. He's lost from it, right? He's angry because he has this life that he doesn't want. He's angry because he can't die. He can't be killed. And like Corey brought up, God of War 1 starts with him trying to kill himself, and it's impossible. And so he gave up on that fact. He had given into that. This is his life. Went off on this search for himself, and somehow ended up here now in Scandinavia. Now having to deal with all this Norse mythology, having a mother to his child at some point, and figuring out now how all that works out.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting kind of things about this is, to Corey's point about, when people think about Norse mythology, they think instantly about Vikings. I certainly do.
Yeah, me too.
And he was saying that it's more the migration period before the Vikings that this takes place in when in Norse mythology, when the Vikings thought the time had existed when the gods walked the earth. So that's a really cool kind of narrative angle that they're taking to
Gods
bring
and
into
monsters.
this. Right, exactly. So I really feel like they've hit on something really unique and special here. And by taking God of War off the market for a little while and thinking about what it could be, and he was saying like nothing was sacred to the team. Like everything, I really liked when he said that everything that the game that God of War was, even if it's made its way into the new game, had to be defended. Like nothing was there just because we felt like it needed to be there. Like it had to be defended, and there had to be a point to bringing it there. And so I think that what you see in this new God of War is there's deeper mechanics and systems, role playing like systems, and there was upgrading in the God of War games, but this seems to be like you're earning experience points, you're finding new locations, you're collecting things. There are little side quests and all sorts of things in the game that I think are going to make a more cohesive.
Experience. Make it a more well-rounded game. Make it feel more than what the other God of Wars did feel like, which were fun action games. But now again, this is being pulled into that third-person realm Sony's now known for. And what I found fascinating that I didn't think of based on the demo is that your son is with you the whole time. It sounds like.
Yep.
I'm
there's
sure
a button. There's a whole button dedicated to him.
Yeah, exactly. You get to command your son now and tell him when they didn't show this, but they're talking about when you go into a fight of 13 guys and 2 of them are super strong. You get to make that tactical choice of, all right, I'm as Kratos going to go fight these 2 guys, and I'll tell my son to go fight the other guys, or I'll have my son, take on the little guys, or they'll help me out. And it's basically all it is you point the camera at whatever you want the kid to do, and you hit square, and your son goes and do it, or your boy, as Kratos calls.
The one takeaway that I have above all else, I think, is that I'm like for the first time in since God of War came out in 2005. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Like I'm like really looking forward to it. Now I've played the God of War games, and I beat God of War 1 and God of War 2. Never got through 3 and never got through Ascension, but I'm really looking forward to this. Like this seems to salvage a franchise that I think needed salvaging, if not from a sales perspective and a critical perspective, just from a fucking like heart and soul perspective. Like Kratos is a definitively shitty character. And I don't mean like he's a shitty person. Like we always talk about, Don Draper in Mad Men or Tony Soprano in The Sopranos as being like bad guys that you can root for. They are dimensional though. They have depth and there's reason. Yeah. Like, and to me, like Kratos is just an awful fucking character. That there's nothing about him that I root for or root against. I just think he exists and he's just one note, one dimensional. And Corey said, he's like, we know that he was one note and we know that it was overdone. Yeah. And like, that was really vindicating to hear like people over the years being like, you guys are crazy. Kratos is a great character. Well, the guys that like really were responsible for Kratos are even saying that maybe it's like enough now.
That the anger was enough. Yeah. Exactly. I don't think they'd ever go on our board of saying he sucked. But
no. I'm not.
I know. I'm just being very clear. But speak plainly.
But in speaking plainly, I mean, he was speaking plainly that like they know.
Yeah. Well, that's what's gonna be fascinating now to look at this. Look at Kratos and step back after this game or when we have this game, and if it really is. Act 1 was the 3 games, and I'm not including anything. You know what I mean? The Santa Monica 3 games. You know what I mean? The narrative. And then we jump to this Act 2, and it is now he's going through, and how does he do this, and what is his son, and what did this, what did this, the woman that bore his child, what did that mean to him? And we have a new thing here, and it's not just hung up on Calliope and like
Calliope.
I'm interested to see how. He went out here thinking he'd be alone, and clearly he found other people and found this. Like, I'm interested in getting that backstory and seeing how that all progressed.
Me too. I think that they're doing a really nice job over there. Super excited to play it.
Me too.
Interested in it's hard to know because of the canceled Santa Monica project, the fabled space game that was canceled well into development. That was Stig's game apparently. Yeah. Stig now. Where is he now? Respawn. Right, working on Titanfall 2. Oh, Star Wars. He's doing Star Wars. That's right. So. It's hard to know if these games were developed in tandem, if one kind of gave way to the other, like what's going on. And the reason I bring that up is because it's hard to know from these vertical slices that we're seeing where these games are in their development. Yeah. Because obviously the team peels off and really refines and polishes these parts. I saw that, that's the same case in the part of the Horizon I played too. And it's just hard to know if this game is sooner rather than later. I'm not saying it's this year because it's not, but is it first half of 2017? Is it fall 2017? Is it after that? Like I
hope fall 2017.
Yeah,
right?
I would hope so.
Seems like an awesome anchor, a great, true PlayStation exclusive that people are going to be excited about. God of War's back.
Yeah, so I think it's a game worth keeping an eye on. Obviously, they'll roll out things as it makes sense for them. But I was really, as good as the game looks, I was really excited to hear Corey talk about it because I thought he talked about it. He's really one of the eloquent, smart thinkers that I've ever met and in the industry, and I think that he seems to be able to take us. It's hard to take a step back from something that, like, when we do our podcast and it's hard to hear criticism about the things that you love and that you built or whatever, but sometimes you have to step back and hear criticism to make things better. And it seems like that was the entire initiative with this game.
Sure.
Was to just step back and be like, how can we modernize this game from a control perspective, from a camera perspective, from a narrative perspective, from a depth perspective? And they've done all of that. And I think that there's a lot to be excited about.
It feels like the next step for it in terms of God of War growing up. And I don't think that saying that is an insult. And I don't think it's a crazy comparison to say it's because Corey's grown up, right? He came out and talked about stepping away from Sony Santa Monica, working with a bunch of different people, and then having a son and coming back and having now making this game. He's in a different place.
Yep.
He's in the same way. If David Jaffe was to go make God of War now, he'd be in a much different place than he was with God of War.
Right. And yeah, I mean, God of War was anchored more in a time. I mean, not that there were plenty of story-driven games on PS2, but I don't think Jaffe's initiative or intent with God of War was for Kratos to be a fucking Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's cool that we're going to get depth out of Kratos. I really do think characters require it. If you're going to have a game like this, I don't think you can have a character like Kratos anymore. You need to make me care.
Yep.
And there needs to be stakes and more than just like, well, they killed his family. It's like, all right, I get it. Like
the ashes are glued to him.
So, and I just want to say too, graphically, magnificent.
Beautiful.
So really, bravo to Sony Santa Monica. I'm really excited to see what they have up their sleeves.
Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of God of War? Let us know in the comments, and then share this video with your friends. And of course, subscribe to this channel, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, and keep coming back because we're still at E3. We're still making videos. Kevin's working really hard. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.